Hey, what's up? My setup's very chill today because I am tired. I'm even gonna wear my glasses and deal with the glare because I don't know, I just have not had the energy to make a video. This whole week I've been sick. That keeps happening, so super fun for me. Um, but you could probably see by the thumbnail, I just want to talk briefly about the live action Netflix Avatar. I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Melanie Tana. I talk about stories in all different forms. Usually I talk about books, but I've been kind of branching out lately when I've actually made videos to talk about like adaptations and movies and TV shows. I have reviewed the Wheel of Time adaptation on Amazon Prime. And those of you who've been following along know that I actually decently like it, but I also very understand where like things get messed up or plot lines get abandoned and it sucks, and I totally sympathize with that. But I tend to be a softer critic of adaptations like that because in a lot of ways I can see like this may be the only chance I get at an adaptation that I like that has money. And honestly, I don't have a lot of energy to be angry at adaptations so much. I find that I can be critical of a thing and analyze it and learn from it without letting it consume me. For the most part, there are some things that I really, really don't like in adaptations, but with Avatar, the Netflix live action series, I had a good time. I thought it was good. And I know people want to click on these videos and get all like the hate and the analysis, and I respect that. I watched those videos too. There are things I hated about it. There are things I really, really didn't like. I'm gonna just list some off. I like wrote a whole list and I don't really feel like looking at it. I just want to talk. Well, I have a brief amount of energy to even make this video because my motivation is low. But I do think that like I'm okay with an adaptation that does its own thing. It's its own version of that story. And people are like, well, characters are being sacrificed for this and this and this, and they go into the analytics of it, and I respect that. Like I really don't care that they have that opinion. Like, that's fine. I don't feel super defensive about the show, but I feel defensive liking the show, which is stupid. Art is important, but art is also whatever you want it to be, and your experience with it is valid. Since this art is not particularly harmful, I'd actually say it's doing a lot of good. There is no harm in liking this show, and I'd say it will allow for more things to be adapted and built upon and more appreciation to be found for them. And I also really don't care about some things that other people care about because I just wanted to come home and watch a show, tell a story I already knew in a different way, and that's what I got, and it was good for me. So that's what I wanted. So it depends on your expectations. My expectations were high that I would enjoy it just by being able to watch something new like that, and I did. I also think a lot of it was good. One thing I will not stand for, you guys can comment basically almost whatever, as long as it's not like harmful or just blatantly mean. And what I consider blatantly mean is how people compared the Ember Island players, actresses, to Azula, May, and Ty Lee in the live action show. These are young people. They are age appropriate. They are not animated, skinny people. People are apparently annoyed that these girls have rounder faces, have younger looking physiques, and I don't want to even talk about it because it's so stupid that we even have to have that conversation, but these kids are going to look like kids because it's accurate, because that's what we wanted. I actually think that they were all cast really, really well. I love that it's a full Asian cast. Like that podcast where Daniel Day Kim says, all Asian. It was cool. So culturally, ethnically, racially accurate. Awesome. I'm actually very, very happy with that. I thought Daniel Day Kim was awesome, as so was I. And I'm getting very off track, but please, when you comment, I will accept if you're like, they ruined the characters that I loved, they did this, I thought this was stupid, this was cheesy, but let's just not hate on people's bodies. And if people are like, well, it's because of the accuracy of whatever, 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 and I'm like, I've had people comment that so-and-so doesn't look like how I thought they would, and they haven't said it outright that they think that an adapted character isn't hot enough for them, but they've only talked about certain women who don't quite look accurate most of the time. And it just feels, a little gross to me. So please be very careful of how you comment about people's bodies, especially where they are underage. That should be a no-brainer. Anyway, moving on. For me personally, what I wish was done better and what I hope they do better in the future, because they have been approved for seasons 2 and 3 or book 2 and 3. I think Katara is a little lacking. She is not as angry as I think that she should be, despite the traumatic references to her past, like actively watching her mother be taken out by the Fire Nation. Like, I think that she should be angrier. It's not the actress's fault. I think she could be given more. I recognize that the motivation of Jet to Katara is a little bit stupid for some people. We don't all love that. I think that would have been better coming from Sokka, that Jet thing, but at least Jet was still bad. That's super vague of me, but that's kind of what I'm just thinking about. Yeah, I'm hoping Katara gets a little bit more. I was getting a little bit worried at the end of this season when they were at the Northern Water Tribe and Paku, Master Paku, I thought he wasn't going to be sexist. And I said to my husband, I was like, if this man isn't sexist, I'm going to throw hands. Because Katara needs that arc, you know? I think it was still handled really well. I liked that their fight scene included some direct references to the animation of the original fight scene, so that was super cool. And I think it's actually really cool that Paku, like, you see that it is not that he hates, like, he's a misogynist and it's bad and he needs to be changed and taught, right? But like he shows kindness and consideration, and which kind of laid the foundation for his mind being changed. I also thought his design and his acting was done really well. There were a lot of old people in the adapted series that are like really like from the original who were just too silly for me. Iroh's already a little silly in the first book anyway, because he's kind of being something light for Zuko before it gets more serious with him, and I'm okay with that. I thought he did a really great job with that. We have Aang's airbending master, and his name has escaped my mind. It was just there seconds ago. We have Roku, and we have Boomy, and they were all just a little bit too silly for me, especially Roku. I was like, do they have to be funny because they're old? Because Roku is one of my favorite characters of like the side older characters of the original. I just think that it could have been a little bit more wise old Avatar, but he was a little bit too silly for telling Avatar you can't have any friends. So I just thought that was handled strangely. But I really don't like, I think my least favorite part of the whole adapted series is Boomy. I thought he was handled so poorly. I don't think he should have been some jaded old man, because I think that there was still something for Aang to maybe teach him without it going so intensely that way. That was the only like adultification of the storyline that I truly hated. I just was like, he was bugging me. I didn't like that it felt like all of these socialites were surrounding him and just trying to please him. It felt so weird to me, because that's what the Earth King at Ba Sing Se, I think, is supposed to feel like he's sort of in denial of the world around him. Boomy shouldn't be like that, in my opinion. So that was a little weird, and it also just felt like cheesy to the point of like being bothersome. I also would have liked if Aang could have done that whole arc of figuring out who Boomy was. Yeah, I just wanted that to be different. I did. So I'm getting a taste of course, what people are feeling and wanting. But honestly, like, I know I have a longer list, but I'm tired and hungry, and I just want to tell you what I liked. I thought the costuming was really good. I thought the music was nice, weaving in the old music with this. I really love, oh my gosh, now what are they called? Jet and see, I'm forgetting the names of everything because I made this video so in a rush. I set it up and I was like, oh wait, I'm hungry, and now I've lost every thought in my brain. But I really liked the what is Jet's group called? If you guys want to remind me in the comments, I'm not a fake fan. I'm not an idiot. Longshot and Smellerbee, and see, I can remember their names, but not the name of their little troupe. Their design and their casting was like honestly perfect. It was so funny. I liked a lot of the fight scenes. I understand people are bothered by Aang's little flying around thing, but he didn't do it too much after the beginning, so that was good. I thought Zhao was great. I think it would have helped if he was a little bit more competent, because he would have been a bigger threat. And I think my other regret is that Zhao's death was not due to his pride. to the extent it was in the original. I think that they really missed an obvious opportunity. In the original, Zhao in the North Pole is being pulled away by Aang's sort of ocean spirit self. And Zuko, being actually a kind-hearted person, reaches out to help him because he wants to kick Zhao's butt, but he doesn't want him to die. And so he reaches out his hand, and Zhao, being a prideful pain in the butt, pulls away and chooses literally to pass away over being helped out by that 17-year-old kid. That's so much better in my opinion. That being said, Iroh's willingness to take out Zhao in defense of Zuko is really great. One of my favorite things is Zuko and Iroh's bond. I thought that was handled so beautifully. I thought that their dynamic was so nice. Zuko, for people saying Zuko is too like whiny and sassy, did you hear him in the original? Because I know for me, I haven't seen book 1 as much as I have 2 and 3. Because 2 and 3 are like my favorites. Especially Earth. Book 2 is amazing. But Zuko is a whiny little boy. He's a 17-year-old. At like the mid of the most uncomfortable part of puberty at 14, he has his face burned by his father intentionally and then is banished from his home country on a stupid little quest that he thinks means something. And you don't think that he would be whiny? Because he was in the original and he is here. And I think that that actor does so perfectly with it. I like showing him giving Iroh like some compassion after Iroh lost his son in the war and how their bond started forming with that. I thought that that was perfect. I liked the storyline of Zuko's crew being the troops that he defended. And I just loved his story. I liked that we got to see the Agni Kai, even though it was devastating, even though I'm like, Daniel Day Kim, why? Anyway, also, I remember when I typed out my notes, autocorrect corrected Daniel Day Kim to Daniel Dad Kim, and I thought it was so funny and that the internet would appreciate that because I know he's been getting a lot of fans for being Ozai, aside from the fact that he was already, you know, a famous, handsome actor. But it was really scary. I was like, bad dad alert. I'm so glad they're leaning so heavily on how traumatizing it is to be a child of Ozai, because Zula is like, ooh, she's broken. And I love how they're showing that, how he's, you know, using other, he's just pulling the strings to turn his kids against each other to make them more powerful. And he's like, well, if Zuko fails and dies, like that's because he was weak. And I just think that they should do that. I think it's good to emphasize that. Ozai kind of did feel like a big bad guy at the end of the quest in the original for me personally, and this just shows that, like, honestly, even if he wasn't encouraging like mass unaliving of people and very violent war, I would just think that he should be taken out purely because he's a horrible abusive father. But it just adds to the hate for him, and I think that's perfect. I really love at the North Pole the faking of Zuko's death. I love his little sneaking into the North Pole outfit. It was like accurate, which I thought was cool. I liked his and Katara's fight scene when they have their little face off with the waterbending avatar behind Katara. It felt so beautifully symbolic. I don't know what the hate is about for Princess Yue. She was done so much better in the original show. It was just like she was just pretty love interest for Sokka de Luz and convenient help for Aang. And yes, it was a beautiful sacrifice even then. But here, like, she likes to bake. She has interests. I could not get over her ex-fiance Han talking about her breaking up with him and being like, it was her prerogative. I thought it was so funny. That poor guy, he did not make it. I think Han deserves better. Justice for Han. But it was, I was like, oh wow, what a consent king. We love to see it. That's so silly. But I just couldn't get over the way that he said that. I was like, he's not even a little bitter. He's just a little sad. But Yue was great. I think people didn't like her design. Again, I think people are like, she's not as pretty as... I'm like, okay. I can't remember her name. So the actress who played Yue in the live-action M. Night Shyamalan movie for The Last Airbender. Yes, she's beautiful. She voices Asami in Korra, if you did not know. She's awesome. I can't remember her name. I can't remember anything, but she's pretty dang cool. But Yue in this animated series, like, she can bend. She is like her own person, and she knows what she has to do to save Aang and to save the world. And it was so, I thought, like, so powerful and beautiful. I don't know, I just thought she was handled really well, and people need to, like, let up a little bit about her. I loved when Iroh was pissed at Zhao and he was like, dude, the things that I will do to you if you hurt that fish. It was sick. I love Iroh so much. I think that we need more angry Iroh as well, a little bit more like serious Iroh, and him teaching Zuko about the crap that's going on with the Fire Nation and kind of slowly being like, yeah, that was the Fire Nation. Zuko's like, they wouldn't do that. That's not honorable. And I was like, wait till I tell you all the other things. So, yeah, I'm enjoying the show. As you can see, I'm getting excited talking about it. There were things I was sad about. There were things I missed, but I'm like, okay with it. I think that it has room for growth, but like, there's an actual possibility of growth. I don't see them being like, falling short in the next 2 seasons. And I love the cast. So much love for the cast. Oh my gosh, Sokka. I love Sokka and his backstory. I do think, and I'm gonna say this, I think they're leaning into like talking about masculinity and how he doesn't have to be a warrior. And while I think that's true, and he is kind of concerned about that, I think his biggest issue actually later on is public speaking, because he's a great warrior. He even has this arc about not needing to be a warrior and then takes out a Fire Nation ship with Katara and Aang's help, and he is not a bender. You know how dangerous and hard that is as a non-bender? And he trains with Suki. I didn't mind that he wasn't sexist, because all the men in his village left him behind with the women. Do you think that he would have been sexist after that? You know? Like, I think it actually totally makes sense. I do think that they could lean in toward, it's not that he's not a warrior, it's that he's unconventional. And so people are like, he's not a big, strong, tough guy, but he is clever and brave and capable of being a warrior, and he's not Aang-sized. Like, he can still fight with like a weapon in his hand, and he manages to be very successful at that. So I don't know, I'm excited to see where they take Sokka's character, but I thought he was done really well and cast really well, and I like him and Katara and their relationship. I think those two have good sibling chemistry that way on screen. I think it's amazing. I love those actors. Like, I think that they are doing incredibly well. There's such a weight on their shoulders. I think Aang is so sweet and so well cast and perfectly funny. I loved Momo. Oh my gosh, Momo getting hurt, saving someone's life. I'm just remembering that part, and I was like, my hero. And then it made sense that they would take him to be healed in the water. Like, I was like, oh, totally, this works. But also Momo, what a hero. And Appa looks a little funny, but I honestly am like glad he looks gross, because he probably would be. Can't be too clean out there. Just on the run from the Fire Nation. But I don't know, if I think of anything else, maybe I'll post about it otherwise. But I enjoyed it, and I'm tired, and I don't feel like doing a whole analysis of how each character was failed by the show, because I really don't think that they were. I think it's like, oh, there's improvement, and this is what it is. But and if you say that makes me any less of a fan, it doesn't. It's just that I have a lot of things I care about, and it's just, I have to balance it out. And for me, this like was enjoyable, and it got me through the day, and I came home from my full-time job, and I watched a show from my childhood adapted, and I was like, oh, I enjoyed that, and I was okay. So I don't know, that's my take, and I appreciate you guys watching. My voice is tired, I'm gonna go eat. Please, like, anything you want to comment, you can tell me I'm wrong. I just might not respond, because I'm like, no, I'm not. I liked these things, I didn't like these things, I thought these things didn't work for me, and that's all my opinion. And so no, I don't think I'm wrong, because it's just my opinion. But I'm happy to discuss it further in the comments. Did I just date myself with this? Love y'all. You're cool. I will see you next time with another video, and it will be more put together, hopefully. We'll find out. Bye.